that Stormzy then put on his first EP, Dreamer's Disease, called Juppa.
Yeah.
And that just went crazy around. I mean, that whole EP and that whole moment for Stormzy was amazing. But that song,
I remember it. I was. Yes, guys, what's going on? Mixed by Jocelin here, back with another episode of Mixed Opinions, and we got a dope guest on today. But before I get into that, a big shout out to Audio Movers for sponsoring this podcast. You can hit the link below and download any of their plugins, and you'll get a month free when you use code Mixed Opinions 2024 at checkout. Safe to those guys. But today on the show, we got JRocs. What's going on, bro? How you doing?
Yes, my brother, man. I'm blessed, man. How you doing, sir? You good?
I'm very good. Been eager to get in and chop this up with you. I can't lie.
For sure. Same, man. I know we've been following each other's journey, each other's success for a while. And it's just great to be here, man.
I find it quite crazy that we've never actually linked up already anyway, because we're two engineers in the exact same scene, in the same city, basically working, similar genre, similar music. Do you know what I mean? It is mad.
Facts.
I don't know if I'm wrong, but have you done any note stuff?
Earlier on, I did some note stuff. We're talking around the times of early 2016. So I did some co-mixes on Aladdin.
Yes.
So around those times. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we've already worked together already.
Okay.
I mastered Aladdin.
Makes sense.
There you go. I knew there was a connection somewhere, but I wasn't quite sure what it was, and I was like, "Wait, yeah." So there you go.
Those are the days where obviously, I was really in the early stages of my mixing career. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I was producing heavily then, but I kind of was in the formative years of my mixing. So I remember, the name MixedByJocelin was around. I was like, yo, he's cold, man. So as you said, we definitely collaborated back then.
Yeah. Oh, I can't lie. That was a crazy one. That one, because that was my first ever professional master that I ever did. I was just shooting my shot. I just said, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's how a lot of it started for all of us. It's like getting into a space of, I always say, taking that leap of faith. I mean, for so long I was producing, but I was really so just interested in building a sonics and building a sound for myself.
Yeah.
So I had to be in that space of, let me put down producing for a while and just really bag this mixing spectrum and really bag this mixing sonics. So, man,
home in on the craft.
On the craft, exactly.
Sweet. So, I mean, it's a good place to start, really. So for those that don't know about your career, the ones that are watching, I'd love it if you give us a little bit of a story on how you came into music and how, you grew through the industry and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, man. I mean, the journey's been we're still on this journey. You know what I mean? I'm going to try to keep it short and simple, but from my formative years, music was in my family. So my father was a DJ. My mum was a big gospel singer back where I'm from in Ghana. So growing up, I was just around music. My uncle was a big producer back home in Accra in Ghana.
Oh, okay.
So from young days, especially being brought up in the church as well, I was just always around music, bro. I'm waking up to my dad on the system, on the PAs, on the jamos, in early morning Sundays and Saturdays playing some reggae sets. So man's waking up to the bass line, low end spectrums of songs.
I love that.
I mean, so from the age of, I would say, around, let's say when I got into primary, but getting more into late stages of primary to secondary school, I started to obviously get more into playing and, playing piano. So obviously I was classically trained.
Oh, okay. Amazing.
Yeah. So I got a lot of just education from that in school. And I remember just in school, man, it was first experience of just going into, I think a lot of people have this experience, just going into that room and you just see a keyboard and some sort of sound card, but I couldn't explain what it was, and an interface and a screen, and I just see one of the older year lot doing some music stuff on it, and I'm like, yo, I can play that keys, and the rest I'm gonna figure it out. But that's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
100%.
It just was like that, just that excitement, you know what I mean, of just seeing something that was like, yo, this is me.
Yeah, just clicked
It's clicked,
instantly. Yeah.
literally, bro.
It,
So
it was very similar. It was very similar for me, to be fair. Like I had a guitar teacher, and he was big into
yeah,
the music tech stuff. And he
yeah,
sees me trying to record my songs and stuff on my phone and that. And he was like, "Come in here." And we had a
like,
whole studio that none of the school knew about. They kept it hidden from everyone. Like I'd never.
same.
Yeah,
So I used to sneak in like lunchtime
yeah,
breaks, you know,
that was
all
the
the break
same here.
times when I wasn't supposed to be there. Do you know what I mean? So I
I
remember
said to
getting
him,
caught.
I said to him, I said that you ain't gonna get me out of here now. I'm in here.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. I was in there, bro, working, creating. I remember getting caught one time. So the teacher was like, in one of our classes, was like, you know what, you've been in there for a while. You
Yeah.
weren't supposed to be there. So what are you doing there? And showcase what you've been doing.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
remember I
Yeah.
was creating beats on like GarageBand and FL and them, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the class was getting gassed. I'm like, yo, this beat hard, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
So
Sick.
that's
We
where the love and just the passion came from in those days, you know what I mean? And fast forward to obviously going to uni, I went on to study music tech.
mm.
So I had a music tech and bachelor in science degree.
Where did
I
you
went on,
study?
I studied at Coventry University.
Okay.
I
Sick.
went there with about, let's say, 2011-ish to
Mm-hmm.
2014. So I studied that. It was probably some of the best times of my life, man, just being in an environment which for me was where I felt I really, really understood and started to learn just the sonics of music
Mm.
production, music engineering, mixing, post-production, you know, sound desks, mixing boards,
Mm.
Pro Tools, all these things. So that really built my knowledge and understanding for music. And I was in the studios every day, bro, just trying to learn how the SSL desks work, the SSL compressors work. Do you know what I mean? How you comp, how you record. Like I was just a studio junkie, bro.
Yeah.
And I guess with my first year of uni, just I had a big opportunity and a big song that I produced with, shout out to, you know, the artists that I worked with back then, Shower Shins and Starboy Wills. And the song just went viral within the Midlands, a record called Ogade
Okay.
within the Afro beats scene.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
like early Afro beat. They used to call it UK Afro beats, and it was just a mega hit. And that started to just get my name about, you know,
Right.
everyone within like
That's
the
what
Midlands.
started the spiral upwards.
Exactly. So I was like about 18 then. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, hence I was producing before, doing a lot of just gospel stuff and R&B stuff back in like the church environments and back in the areas that I was from. But I think going to uni and just having that moment was crazy, bro. Like I remember like having to be lectures at 9, but we're also going on tour, like
Yes,
around
that is
England.
crazy. And it's like
Crazy,
you look at your peers and you're like one step ahead of them. Do you know what I mean?
crazy.
Yeah, that is
So
mad.
yeah, so through that moment, we obviously was working on a debut EP for the boys, and that was kind of like the introduction to like the next part of my phase was when I then met Stormzy, because a good mutual friend of ours, them times around uni, was very close with him and was like, "Yo, I think you should work with the boys, Shower and Shins. You know, they're killing it right now." And
Mm.
we had a massive record that Stormzy then put on his first EP, Dreamer's Disease, called Juppa.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
that just went crazy around. I mean, but that whole EP and that whole moment for Stormzy was amazing. But that
Oh
song in
yeah,
particular,
I remember it. Grew up in and around Croydon, and it was just like obviously that was
like,
just a moment. Like it was like
I
shit.
went to church around there, so like
Yeah,
I knew what was going on in those areas, and that it's crazy, bro.
yeah. Well,
And
it just for everyone was just like backed him. Do you know what I mean? And it just we
locked in,
knew that we had the next thing on our doorstep. Do you know what I mean? And it was
that's
just
locked
gone.
in,
Yeah, yeah,
locked in.
yeah.
So that was like the later stages of my uni career, and then that song just blew up. And then when I came out, I just kind of like went, you know what, this is it, man. This is what we're going with. Like I really stood firm in music
Yeah,
production.
well, no doubt at that point. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
already
no
proven
doubt.
its flowers.
Opportunities were coming through left, right, center. Obviously, sometimes then obviously the music industry weren't at the place it was now. So a lot of that
Mm,
was just word of mouth and sort of like working with just fresh talents. So that's where I built my own sort of production company, Penthouse, and I was just sort of searching and building talent, both on the production side, both on artistry side as well. So we was looking for
mm.
producers to work with, artists to work with, people to build with. And that's where names like S&E came involved, the KOJO funds, all these just brilliant
Yeah.
artists. Man, just
I remember Esney. He used to come to a studio I worked at in Soho, the Relentless studio.
yeah, we used to come down there as well. We used to come down there with him.
Yeah, well then you would have
Yes.
met me before then.
Probably, yeah.
I
We would
ran
have met
it.
them.
I was the studio manager for like 5 years.
We should have met them times then. We used to
Yeah.
come there.
Maybe it just
Around,
went over our heads. Do you know what I mean?
yes. There was one in Soho and there was one in maybe it's the same place. The one in Tottenham Court Road.
That is it. Yeah, Denmark
That is
Street.
it. Yes.
Yeah, we used to get everyone in there. It was
Yeah, man.
that was a crazy time, to
that
be
was a
fair.
great space, man. Loved creating down there,
Yeah,
man.
not the best studio, but it was a vibe. Do you know what I mean?
The vibe, exactly. The vibe in
and the
there.
best thing, it was free.
It was free. You could get a Red Bull as well in the house.
Well, no, our Red Bull are relentless. Don't be that.
The relentless drinks, man.
Yeah. I remember I walked in there one day with a Red Bull and they were like, "Look, you're trying to get fired out here, bro."
Oh yeah, conflict of brand, innit? Conflict of brand.
Yeah, they caught me. I went to one Little Sims album party at the Red Bull studio near London Bridge, and I don't know. Someone must have caught a photo of me, and they come in and they had it up on the big screen, and like the execs at Relentless were like, "What the fuck is this? What are you doing there?" And I'm like, "I was just chilling." Like, you know what I mean? I got baited, but that was a crazy spot. Do you ever used to come with anyone else over there, like other than SNE?
Yeah, we done a few things down there. So obviously SNE, KOJO funds manager back then, Flaky. So I remember he was working on his debut tape back then. Forgot the name of the mixtape, which I had the pleasure of mixing and mastering.
Yeah.
So we came down there with the likes of Heady One, Miss Banks.
Yeah.
GA, various producers and artists, and created that amazing project down there. So
I do remember that. I do remember that project coming in. I mean, that was more towards the back end of that period, and at that point, I had already started working with like Charlie Sloth and that. So I wasn't always there. I was like, you might have met my boy Proton there, because he used to cover.
Proton, yes.
So he's the co-host of this show as well. He sometimes jumps on. But he used to cover for me a lot. Yeah. Shout out Pro. But yeah, man, 100. He actually mentioned you the other day. Actually, can't remember what we were talking about, but your name popped up. Maybe you must come up in conversation or something like that. But yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, I knew our paths would have crossed a bunch. You know what I mean? I knew our paths would have crossed a bunch. That's just us being neglectful and not introducing ourselves properly. Do you know what I mean?
Timing, them ones sometimes, and just has a way of bringing people back together and in a way.
Yeah, 100. Well, this is what this is all about. This is what the show's about. It's about creating a bridge and a community and hosting stories and just showing everyone that that it's interesting and you can learn and you can what I mean, like and everyone starts at different places and journey is different. Do you know what I mean? So that's dope.
Right, man.
But I want to skip forward a little bit and I want to talk about, obviously, I would have thought one of your more great achievements, and that's your Grammy nomination.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy, bro. Like, that's a bucket list tick, yeah?
Crazy, I know, man.
So
that was
what was the project and how did it feel?
That, first and foremost, we give praise to God, man. And that whole moment and that whole thing came from working with, shout out to Jules, on his EP, Palm Wine Rhythm.
Yeah.
Which is just an amazing body of work that he's put together. Jules being one of my favorite just producers around, not just over here, but also just back also in Africa as well.
Right.
And I remember just getting the call from him. This was probably around 6 months ago to a year, within that time frame. And it was just like, yeah, Jay, like, I'd really love you to be a part of this, man, and really bring your expertise on the post-production side. And I just need you to really bring that culture and that authenticity within the sounds that he was trying to emulate and put together. And one thing that I loved about the project, it felt very home to me, because obviously it was very much like indigenous, Afro-West African Ghanaian high life music.
Yes.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So a lot of the percussions, a lot of the rhythmic sort of patterns, a lot of the just the whole sonics felt very like stuff that man was growing up to. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well, it's
So
so soulful and upbeat, do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
man.
and there's no genre like it, do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
facts, facts,
it just has,
facts.
it lives in its own space, do you know what I mean? And it can't really be, it's very difficult to emulate outside of that, you
Emulate.
know?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes. So it was just like an honor to be involved in that project. I mixed I mixed and I mixed majority of the songs on there. I think bar one song, which was the record with Sarkodie and I think R2B's Mugies and them.
yeah,
But no, it was just an honor to be involved in that whole project. You know, from even just seeing how Jules put things together and
yeah,
you know, like building certain sections and getting that over to me then to maybe doing a first mix on something. And then he's like, yo, I love where we're at, but sonically as well, something's missing. So let me take it back and, you know, add to it. I
yeah.
know that this is what's going to bring that. So it was just like, for me as well, I learned so much on the production side of it as well.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And I
It's
remember,
amazing when you have that relationship
yeah,
with an
facts.
artist, do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
a lot of the time, you know, it can be quite difficult. Like they don't like, you know, especially when you're mixing loads of records and it just comes through, you know, whatever. And it's
Mm,
like, they don't, you know, when sometimes the artist doesn't understand just how important it is to build a relationship with the engineer to be able
yeah.
to have that open book and that discussion of like, okay, yeah, send it back, change this, da 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 da, like, you know, really doing whatever you need to do to make sure the record's done rather than just getting the stems delivered, mixing it to the best of your ability and then sending it back and then that's it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
You're right.
which
And
sometimes
that's,
that works, but you know, it's a much better process, obviously, when you have a good dynamic and relationship. Do you know what I mean with the artist?
and that's one thing that within not just the years, but especially with like a producer like Jules, we definitely we have a great rapport in regards to just I understand exactly what not just as a client, but also what he as a producer and what he stands for sonically and musically.
Mm,
So when it comes down to like working on mixing a lot of his records, you know, a lot of thought and a lot of just intentions are put within the record because
yeah.
it's like, you know, it's very authentic, it's very cultural, it's very intentional, and there is a lot of purpose within his music,
Mm,
and a lot of the things that are coming or he's put into his music, they're things that I've also sort of, like I said earlier, grown up with, and I understand, you know, a lot of how those things make me feel, and maybe a lot of
yeah.
those things have made, you know, people that come from where I'm from as well feel. So
Yeah. You've got a
things
deeper
like that,
connection to the music
exactly,
than just
exactly,
mixing it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
That's amazing. And so did you get an opportunity to go to the Grammys or
No, I couldn't go this year. You know, like to be honest, I just got settled in back in to UK now. Obviously, I was in Ghana for the Christmas and New Year's period, and
yeah.
just got back like late Jan, so I
Mm.
wasn't able to go out to the Grammys this year in LA. I mean, it was a successful Grammy. I was able to obviously watch and see a couple clips,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
God's grace, man. I mean,
Next year?
we want to be involved next year, man.
Yeah,
We want to
100%. 100%.
be
Have you ever been to
involved.
Nam?
Heard, but I've not been. Not been.
So Nam is like the weekend before and it's in LA.
Yeah,
So it's just like a double whammy trip for you, bro. Like it
yeah.
makes too much sense.
Next year we gotta go, man.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
gotta be there.
I'm going. So
Oh, amazing,
we'll go. Do you know what I mean?
amazing,
Yeah, like
amazing. I hope next year we can both be lifting some awards together,
yeah,
man.
let's do it. But like, yeah, me, you know, Sean D.
Sean, yes,
Yeah, me and
Sean,
Sean are going. So roll, come with us. Do you know what I mean?
that'd be
We'll
amazing, man.
because it's we
Big
got
shout outs to Sean as well, man.
100, bro. He's the goat. But we got to, you know, we got to represent. You know what I
We do,
mean? We got to
we
represent
do,
the
we do,
UK proper
we do, we
because
do.
they got such a click and a vibe over there. Do you know what I mean? And like again, that's another reason why I'm so passionate about doing this because we need that here. Do you know what I mean? Like we need that here. We need to like the engineers over there. They're turning into superstars. Like, bro,
They are, they are
we're just as star worthy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
exactly,
and we
exactly. And
so
there's some great engineers here. You know what I mean? That
yeah,
props to like yourself, Sean. So
MSN.
many.
Do you know what I mean?
MSN.
Yeah,
There's so many great engineers out here that I feel definitely need their props. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? Sam from Miloko, who's
yeah,
doing some amazing
exactly.
stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, I've been privileged enough to get a bunch on like yourself and chat to him and that, and it is, you know, it's crazy. There's a real community here, but I don't feel like there's enough events and situations and stuff to like bring us all together and really mingle. Do you know what I
mm,
mean? So
mm.
it's a goal of mine, like to make that happen and like create that culture more so.
Well, I'm here, brother. So wherever you need me and wherever we can support, I'm
Oh,
here for
mate,
that.
don't worry. We got things cooking. We got things
For
cooking,
sure.
100%.
For sure.
But that is so cool, man. Like I've got to say, like it's a you know it's always like whenever you get into music and that you're like, you know, what's a dream? Like Grammy nominated, you
Yeah.
know, next thing Grammy winning, like you know plaques, all this stuff. Like you're ticking
Yeah.
it all off the box. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's like I know exactly how that would feel. Do you know what I mean? Because it's something.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's what drives us. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Like. So, because you know, obviously, all right. Something it's just an award, but it's not. It's a real appreciation and a stamp of your work rate and just how far you've come. Do you know what I mean? From being at uni and being at college and seeing that first interface to all the way now, that journey's taking you
Yes,
all the
sir.
way to here. Like that's
Yes, sir.
absolutely amazing and it's dope, bro.
You're right.
So
You're right.
congratulations, man, and I'm proud of you. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you.
100%.
Thank you. Thank
But
you.
outside of that record, because that record you'll probably save, so I'm gonna take that one out of the equation. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, but obviously, you've worked on dope records, and as we've
Thank you.
discovered, we've worked on dope records together. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
But what is like a standout record for you in your career that you're just like, yeah, shit, that was a cool moment, and you know what I mean? I'm proud of that.
That's a great question. I've been getting that question a lot recently.
Yeah.
Enough. Yeah, a lot
Well,
of
because
people
they're
have
racking up, innit? So now
yeah,
you got one
yeah,
to
yeah.
pick from.
I had this conversation the other day. I was in Miloko down at Leeway Street
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, I know it. Yeah,
in a camp, and a couple great producers that I was around. We were just speaking about some of the records we've been involved in throughout the years,
yeah,
and I feel like, you know what? To be honest, um, every record has led up to this moment as well.
of
Like,
course. Yeah, yeah,
um, for me, you know what? Like, I can remember, like, even German with EO. That moment was so special.
yeah.
You
German
know,
whip.
not German whip, German EO that got my wrist
Oh,
blinging in.
sorry. Yeah, yeah. Of course, of course, of
Yes,
course. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
that was a special moment as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
But work with such a talented kid.
Mm,
Sometimes you come from, the YouTube space, and we had such a viral and a massive song and a massive hit,
mm.
which for me was amazing because also from a production standpoint. And I'm due to do this one soon as well and just do a breakdown of just like how I kind of put together the beat. But to be honest, yeah, the beat had no more than 5 instruments.
Yeah, but sometimes that's the one. Do you know what I mean?
Literally
That's
no
it.
more than 5 instruments. But I remember producing that record, and all I could think of was like, I want this record to be a nursery rhyme. Like
Right.
I want it to feel like a nursery
And
rhyme. I
stick
want
in
the
the head.
melody to feel like
Yeah,
Humpty Dumpty's on the wall. So as soon as you hear dun dun dun,
yeah, yeah.
it's just
Bang.
recognizable. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Bang in your head.
So,
Yeah,
so things like that for me as well, like leads on to other records throughout the years that I've been able to either produce or engineer or mix.
yeah.
Even going back to KOJO Fun's Done Talking,
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
which is a legendary record, a classic. Shout out
Yeah, of
to
course.
Gio and the productions. But even me being on the buttons and just like mixing that record and being involved in that whole process, man. And that was like one of the first records as well, and one of those first earlier types of 2016 Afrobeat records where you had that sort of real sort of crud, that vibe, but mixed in with melody. So like
Yeah.
melodic crud, if you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. It had like it had the swing feel and like a
Exactly.
vibe of you know like Afro beat, Afro swing, but it had that element of like grime and
Rhyme.
drill and
Yes.
stuff just like
Yes.
embedded into it. So it really came across like, oh shit, this is a full fusion. This is a UK version that we've taken
Exactly.
that and we've as we always do, and we've mashed it up and look at what we've come up with. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, sir. And
Yeah.
that was like those days was just the days where we were just trying to be fresh, new, authentic, like
Yeah.
going in the studio and trying out different voicing and me mixing even just the top line in different ways. Like I'd mix the top line, try and do one just heavily compressed and one lightly compressed and one just with no compression, and doing just different types of
Experiment.
multi-band just to experiment and have different textures and
That's dope.
feels. And for me, like to see where that went and where that got to, and then that became sort of like the blueprint of a lot of that types of records that came after. Do you know what I mean?
It
So
did.
I
It
remember,
definitely did. It definitely
yeah,
did. It set
yeah,
pace. It set pace.
it's set pace. You
Yeah.
understand? So no, there's like the records. There's been so many, man, and then even till date, when you're looking at record like Latest Trends, which is very, you know, current to today's market. I think that was 2 to 3 years now, and even just being a part of that record and like melodic drill, so it kind of gave me sort of like a nostalgia feel of like what we were doing back in the KOJO days, but just sped up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even
You obviously gravitate heavily towards the melodic side of things, innit? And
love melodic,
you know what
love
I mean?
melodies. I mean, coming from a musical background and from a perspective of just keys and scales, and you know, I've always just been into melody.
That's what brings you back into it and fuels it.
Exactly.
That's crazy, man. That's dope. And some you know, some 30 records there. Do you know what I mean? Like absolutely legendary ones, especially in the last decade. Do you know what I mean? Like records that set pace. And
that's what's crazy, bro. Like we've actually been here for a decade, man.
Yeah, I know. It's mad. It is mad. It's sometimes a little bit like shit, but like, but it's got that time. You know what I mean? 30 and all that. Like, it's crazy, but
trust me, 30 gang.
But now, but it's nice though, because you see like the next generation coming through, and do you know what I mean?
I love that. I love that, and just even being able to impact them as well and collab with them.
Yeah, I love it.
That's been like amazing for me now. Just, you know, doing some collabs with the next generation, not just artists but producers and engineers as well.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Engineers and producers, you know, they're coming up, and you know, especially the ones that like take the time and like, you know, recognize, oh shit, like this is use what we're doing, all the tunes that I was listening to when I was at school. Do you know what I mean? And like breaking it, trying to asking questions and breaking it all down. Like people like that, I'm like, bro, I'll give you all the time in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's talk, because it's dope. Do you know what I mean? And you know that they're you know, when they're talking like that, they got the same fuel that we had when we was their age, and trying to just do whatever it takes, make it happen. Do you know what I mean? So rate that. Coming off the topic of music a little bit and going more into studio stuff, and I like to ask this question. Some guys don't like to answer it because it's funny, but obviously as an engineer, like, we are problem solvers at heart, like that's the main that's sort of like one of the main parts of our job, but you know, problems occur, and you know, we lose sleep. Like, in your years of working, like, has there been like a standout studio fail to you where you're like, shit, that one was mad? Like, how did I, you know what I mean, like, lost a bit of...
That's a good question, bro. When you say studio failed, you mean like a session,
It
or
can be
just
anything. Like, you've lost a file, you know, you've had one mad guy turn up and you're like, shit, that was spooky as hell. Or, you know what I mean?
Trust me, I mean the file stuff, I mean that was things earlier on in my career that I learned early. Do you know what I mean? I'm thankful for learning that quite early.
But when you do learn it, you don't unlearn that shit. Like,
yes, no, exactly. That I remember like back in the day, you know, just being in a position where just the hard drive weren't working, bro, and I'm like, yo, like, I've got to finish off some work. Do you know what I mean? And done, kaput,
gone, backup.
No backups, bro. And it's like, we got to change our way of, you know, working. We got to change our way of storing data. And that's when I really got heavy on the cloud and Dropbox, and, you know, having just excess backups to a point where I can work remotely from anywhere. Do you understand? So I don't have to be I'll be on my own system. If I log on to another system somewhere else, I could access files.
Yeah.
And that for me throughout the years was something that I was really, really just focused on and made sure that, you know, having those priorities in check. Because as an engineer, like you said, we are problem solvers, but we have to also be in a position where we have our things ready, so things prepped in order
It's
to
on our shoulders. Like we're the
exactly.
ones that we're the ones that everyone relies on. Do you know what
Yes,
I'm
yes,
saying? So
yes.
it's like when you first start off, you think, nah, I don't want to. I just got, you just get a bit of bread, and you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I could buy this keyboard or I could
yeah,
buy these hard drives. Like,
yeah,
what are you gonna do? You're gonna buy the keyboard. But
yeah.
like, as you get more experience, you think, do you know what, bro? Like, I need to make sure my system is
You're right.
squeaky
You're
clean
right.
and tight. Yeah,
You're right. I mean, throughout the years, I would say as much as I spent and invested so much in my equipment, I probably even spent and invested more in just like the security of my work.
of your stuff.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Of the stuff.
yeah, because
That was very important.
it's not just your work. That's the thing,
Yeah.
and it's a
Yes.
creative thing. It's something that a person has come in, poured their heart and soul into, to capsulate in time forever, and
Yeah.
then you have to have the call and say, bro, it's gone. Like
Yeah.
that can't ever happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
heartbreaking. Like
Yeah.
and so and I tried to say this to producers all the time because it's something that comes up all the time, and I know you would have had this with projects, like not for yourself, but like when dealing with other people, like. Oh, I ain't got the stems, all of this shit, yeah. And it's like, bro, if you're out here making music, yeah, and a big boy artist comes on and jumps on your tune, and then you're telling him you ain't got stems because you lost
Mm.
it and you ain't got a hard drive anymore, well, that's just the quickest way to not get hired again. Like, do you know what I mean? Because
Oh, for sure.
you you know
For sure.
this artist has got standards and a level of quality, do you know what I mean, that he then will
Mm.
deliver to a man like me or you,
Mm.
or another engineer, to make sure that it gets that point. And if you're not giving us the tools to achieve that, then it's difficult. I literally had this conversation just before I jumped on here. Obviously, I won't mention the project or the name or the people because I don't want to cuss people out. But
Yeah. Yeah.
like yeah, but the artist is
Yeah.
blessed and he gets it and he appreciates that. I'll bell him and say, bro, do you know what? Yeah, like the stems or nothing. Do you know what I mean? Because
Mm.
this isn't just your name on this; it's my name too.
My name
So
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's got to
Yeah.
be all at that standard. Do you know what I'm
That
saying? So
standard. Exactly.
advice to all the producers that are listening, yeah. Just when you got that beat and it's sounding hard, bro, bounce the stems and just keep them safe, bro. Because
Yeah, and advice to all the engineers and producers out there, like really invest in securing your data, securing your files,
yeah,
um, all of those things,
mm,
even just down to like insurance on
on your
your Macs,
equipment, yeah.
on your equipment. Those things are very important.
Yeah, and it's the
As I said,
last thing
like
that it's the last thing that people think about. But it's
I'm telling you,
once it's done, it's done. You don't think about it no more. Do you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
It's 10
yeah,
minutes work and then it's finished, and then you can sleep well at night knowing that all your shit's cool. Do you know
all
what
your
I
stuff.
mean?
You know what
And
I
all your
mean?
files are cool. Like I'm gonna be implementing a new sort of like local network system into mine.
Mm.
Basically creating my own cloud
Yes,
system.
that's something that right now I'm also looking into doing as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe we can have a chat after this and
for
see
sure.
what systems we're looking at. But
Looking at yes,
yeah, because David Young and Kim, Nas's engineer, put me onto it because he's like, yeah, bro, I've got this system set up and I can be on the golf course and just my computer's always on. I can just access my computer from my phone and just
literally.
send the
So, someone put me onto it the same way as well when
yeah.
I was out in Miami. Yeah, one of our peoples out there that we work with was putting into the same thing,
Yeah,
and I was
obviously
yo, I
it
got
shoots you in the foot a little bit because you never get no peace. And then once
yeah,
the artist knows that you have
yeah,
24/7
yeah.
access to your shit,
Access. They ain't got to know, have they?
yeah, yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, I drove 2 hours to do this for you,
That's where, yeah, yeah, yeah.
but really, you fucking just you did it whilst playing around the golf, like, or in the gym or something
At
crazy.
the gym or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, but no, that's cool. But yeah, I do like to talk about it because again, it's like it gives people confidence that like
Yeah,
this stuff happens. Do you know what I mean? It does happen, but it's like don't let it happen again. Like learn from the mistakes and prepare
yeah,
yourself and just keep elevating forward because that's why all engineer studios that end up looking so mad because we're just constantly reinvesting in ourselves. You know what I
exactly,
mean? And just new
exactly,
gear, better gear, this, that, because we've always got
yeah,
to be in
exactly,
front of the curve. Do you know what I mean?
exactly.
But that's it. Similar question, but slightly off the thing. Like, and this isn't just like music related. This is because obviously as an engineer producer, you know, part of that for most like cases, 90% of the time is, you know, you're an entrepreneur as well. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
you're a self-made man, and you run your own ship, in a sense. So like, what would you say is like one of the bigger challenges for you when it comes to just that as a whole? Like, what sticks out to you? Do you know what I mean? And what's like something that, you know, you really have to, it takes time and just, you know, to overcome? Because again, as a lot of the time as engineers and producers, we just want to just do the music. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
man. You're
So
right. I mean, things that I had to learn throughout the course of my journey was just putting a team together
yeah.
and really being in a position where, listen, like a lot of the times I think we are so um, in a space or in our heads of, yo, like I gotta be able to do everything because I gotta be self-sufficient and I gotta get myself here to there to there to there. But you run yourself down. And
Mm,
when you run yourself down, as you know, in this game, bro, sometimes the biggest opportunities that may come, you just don't have enough energy. You
yeah,
just don't have
yeah, and
enough.
it slips past you.
It slips past, you know what I mean? And
Mm,
sometimes people wear themselves out or wear themselves down so much, they don't recover. So for me, from early on, like when I built my company, my business, I made sure that I had a very strong legal team. I had a very strong finance team, you know, got
mm,
myself involved with lawyers from early, involved with solicitors and accountants from early. Also making sure that I had a PA. Do you know what I mean? Like when it comes down to, I know people sometimes play around with these things, but like just scheduling is so key, bro. Like if it
mm.
was left alone with me, do you know what I mean? I probably wouldn't remember most of the things that I have going on next
Hundred
week in my
percent,
head.
hundred
Do you know what I
percent,
mean? Because there's
hundred
like
percent.
1,000 things running through my head anyway. But
Yeah.
I do know that, you know, I have a calendar system, I have a scheduling system. My PA has all my dates with me,
Mm.
so she will revert back to me, you know, within the week or whatever. That
Yeah,
okay, you
this
know, you
is
got
going
this,
on
you know, you
here.
got
This,
that.
yeah.
Exactly. So those things, which for me are the things that I started to put in place as early as I could, because I knew once I have those things in place, I can be as efficient as possible. Do
Yeah, you take that
you know what I mean?
pressure off of your shoulders so you can just
Yes,
do what you need to do. Do you know what I
what I
mean?
need to do. Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I hear that. And
Yeah.
systems in general just are so key to it. Obviously, as especially if you don't like systems, if you're a person
Yes.
that doesn't like systems, it means you need the system more, bro.
Yeah.
Like 110%. Because
Yeah.
I'm like
Yeah.
that. I hate it, yeah. But like, you know, if things don't get sent the way that I need it to be sent or whatever, like even like small things like recalls, yeah, like one of the annoying things, people send me recalls on DMs, yeah, and I'm like, bro, I am going to forget this. Like I'm
Yeah.
not trying to forget
Yeah.
it, but I'm going to forget to do this
Yeah,
because you
man.
sent it in the DMs. Like,
Yeah.
just please send it in to me in an email, and then
Email.
I'll see that and I'll do
Yeah,
that.
literally.
Yeah,
Send it to me via email. My PA will see that and she
organize
will
it. Tell
schedule
me
it
what
for
to
me.
do.
You know what I
100%.
mean?
Exactly.
That's the same way, bro.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
way.
yeah.
But for me, those things were like things where even now, like with DMs, no, like some people be like, oh, I ain't DM. But for me, it was just there's not much I can do on the DM because like I've got God knows how many more DMs that are
Yeah,
hitting me up about stuff
exactly.
anyway. So, but that was where even through the social media outlets, knowing okay, cool, like we have the options where you can email and you can just send an email that okay, cool, you know, this is what I would like to be done, or vice versa. And I have my team put in place to make sure those things are
Getting
being
done.
looked at. Do you
Yeah,
understand?
getting
And
done
getting
in
done.
a timely manner and just making
Exactly,
sure that you know it's being run professionally. Because yeah, that is
exactly,
it. Again, it's one
exactly,
man. You know what I mean? It's difficult to just manage all that stuff. So yeah,
bro. Trust me,
100%. But yeah, I did. Yeah, definitely get that. Yeah, because it does
it does.
get
Even
crazy.
down to like now as well nowadays where I work with because I do a lot of stuff, you know, not just on the independent cycle, but a lot of stuff with labels now. So
Yeah,
from
and that's
post
a whole
production,
different kettle of fish.
whole different kettle of fish. So like where I get sent a lot of stems, I get sent a lot of things. Most of the times, like I will get like my junior engineers to make sure that you know the things that are sent, they're put in place, they're organized in place first before we even then get to where it's sent to me to then obviously do, let's say, a first recall, a first mix. Do you know what I mean? Making sure things are in place because I feel a lot of the times it's very easy to just get whether it's stems or projects or files sent and you're just trying to figure out where to put for everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
of
where to
course.
sort
Yeah,
of
yeah. You
place
gotta
everything
have a
and
system and
have a
someone,
system in
and then
place.
if someone knows, yeah. That's how I run my thing. I have a set way. Give it to my guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm actually in the process of trying to find someone new. So if there's anyone out there, DM me
Yeah.
please. But
We might have a few people's out there for you, bro.
yeah. Well, I had one guy
Come
and
on.
he was just the best, and he's
Yeah.
been impossible to replace. Do you know what I
Replace.
mean?
Yes. And
Um,
sometimes that's what happens when, you've built such a great team. Like even myself, building such a great team, and you then start to know the value of your people. So you
yeah,
have to also, if you want to keep them and you want to build them,
yeah,
understand their value. And I'm so
yeah.
blessed to have that within my team. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well, for me, it was bittersweet because um, he it got to the point. He's a very talented person. Yeah, shout out to Jackson, right?
Mm.
But but his skill set lies outside of the mixing. Like he's a brilliant saxophone player, brilliant key player. He loves
Okay.
producing and all this stuff. And it got to a point where obviously he's brilliant and he's doing everything that I need him to do, but his passion for for the mixing side of things wasn't there. And he was just
Mm.
like, bro, truthfully, like it's just not like I need to do something different now. And it
Something
wasn't
different.
something that I could give him. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I need someone that's just here with me that wants to get into mixing as much as I do, so I can then
Yeah.
bring them up to my level. Do you see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's that's where that was where it was at. But because he was just very, it was just a good situation. But
Yeah.
yeah, but the whole mixing thing again, it just makes life so much easier. And I find if you've got like a system in place as well, especially when it comes to mixing,
Yeah.
like individually, not so much producing and whatever, but that means that you can it's so much easier to bring everything up to the same standard. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? Because
Yes.
it's not necessarily using like templates and whatever, but like just sort of like the layout of everything and the
Layups.
process in
Yes.
which you attack things.
Yes. Yes.
You build a rapport of it over time, and then you end up getting to a point where you can hit that level every time, and then
It
it's
just
just
becomes second nature.
and then it's just
Yeah.
okay, how can I make it 10% better than the
Percent better.
last thing? Do you know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? But that's dope. So yeah, systems and having a team around you from early, I do rate that 100%. And yeah, it's clearly key. It's something that pops up all the time when you talk to people, like
Yeah.
successful people, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's all about that. You know what I mean? It's all about building a team, sort of, outsourcing the shit that might not necessarily be good at, so you can focus on the thing that really gets the business moving.
Yes.
Um,
Exactly.
Moving away from the business side of things, this is
Yeah.
obviously, you probably knew this was going to come. I want to know your three favorite mix plugins at the moment. Like, let's put us on. Let
Ooh.
everyone know the source.
3 favorite mix plugins at the moment. In order, or just
Just ones that you're really, that are hitting every
I mean,
project. You know what I mean?
number one, I've got to shout out the God Particle. That
Yes.
is no brainer, isn't it? Yeah.
Let's go. Keep an eye on this channel, yeah. Well, no, it'll be
Man,
out. It'll be
the
out
God Particle,
already. It'll be out already. I'm dropping a video on that this Sunday, so it will already
yeah,
be out,
the God Particle is an absolute game changer.
bro.
And for me,
Thank you,
why that
Jason,
is,
bro. You
it is Jason.
praise the
Yo,
Lord. 100.
that is just a wicked, like, for me, it's not just what that can do on an overall mix, but just what that can also bring. I feel like it's just so much. It just gives so much depth,
Yeah,
not just
yeah.
on the mix, but also sonically. Yeah,
It opens up your mix.
so much.
Do you mix into it, or do you put it on like after?
Do you know what? So when I first got introduced to it, shout out to Joshua Beats, amazing engineer, really, really good friend of mine, close friend of mine. We do a lot of stuff together. He introduced me to the God Particle, and I thought, okay, cool. Let me actually now try mix into it,
Yeah,
so I can actually see
what it's doing.
the experience, what it brings.
Mm.
And straight away I was like, wow. And I think what it also taught me as well was just like some of the things that also I was kind of lacking in my mix. Do you
Yeah,
understand?
of course. It
In regards,
highlights sections
exactly, it
because you
highlights a lot.
because you're mixing into Jason Joshua's curve. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. So it taught me a lot, maybe what I lacked maybe within the low mids, or what I lacked within the mids, or whether I had too much highs going on. Do you understand? And whether maybe a lot of my levels were peaking, or, you know, maybe there was do you know what I'm trying to say? Where there needed to be a bit more headroom.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just a great insight on just because I guess as well, like, a great thing about that plugin, which maybe most engineers or some people might just do, is just slap it on everything. But for me, I didn't really want to be that type of engineer where I've been exposed to that plugin and just slap on everything. It was more, okay, cool, having to understand what the plugin can do and what it can bring to my mix and what it can bring to my bus channels. Let me also kind of mix into it, so I also know some of the areas that I'm falling short within my mix. Do you know what I mean? So that it doesn't just highlight it as clear, but also it shows improvement.
That's how it's designed. That was the intention behind it. Like, and it was never designed just to be like something that you slap on the end just to give it that gold dust.
Yes, that
it
gold
was
dust,
designed to be mixed into and you know, worked in, and it, you know, opened my eyes to like a slightly different concept of mixing. Do you know what I mean? And like actually keeping the limiter on. Because in my early days, I'll be like, no, I'm not mixing into a limiter. Are you mad? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to, but, you know, actually, if you want your dynamics to cut across the board, you want to hear what it sounds like whilst you're mixing with the limiter on, so you can hear how it's dynamically being processed. Yeah. No,
the God particle for me has been just an amazing revolution in sonics and post production and mixing.
Yeah,
so big ups to Jason Joshua on that one.
He's gonna be coming on. I'll actually lock him in. Yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna be locked in when he comes on.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
So at some point this year, I won't give it away, but he's got something big coming out, and he said when that comes out, we'll lock in and do it. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
Dope. So definitely, I say the God particle. I would also say I really love the standard clipper.
Standard clipper.
Yes.
Okay.
The standard clip. It is a I forgot what home plugin it is, but it's a really good just limiter to use. Really loved using it on like just drum buses.
Yeah.
Just gives a bit more just sometimes headroom and width as well. It's a really, really dope plugin.
Have you tried the gold clip?
The gold clip as well was one that I really, really enjoy as well. Really dope. The gold clip as well, I would say, is probably a level just above the standard clip, but the standard clip does give it a nice warmth. Gold clip is ridiculous.
Yeah, I've been using that a lot recently. It's a new addition to the chain, and I mean, I was like, holy shit! When I banged it on my drums, I was like, fuck it, this is sick. And I'm like, that's why it's a $250 clipper. But yeah, it's tough.
And then I'm gonna go to I love a CLA 2A, man.
I will swear,
yeah, man. I love a CLA 2A. I just love do you know what? Like, for me, within the years, like, I've been exposed to, as a lot of us engineers do, you get exposed to so many plugins, so many compressors, so many EQs. But for me, sometimes I just love just the authenticity and just the warmth and the classicness of a old school CLA 2A, and just what that can bring to, especially just like vocals or even just guitars.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And like melodic instruments, it just brings a nice resonance and a nice cut through in regards to the transients.
I like the width as well. It maintains quite a lot of width.
It does.
That compressors. Yeah, it's good. It's definitely. I don't so much use it on vocals and stuff, but definitely on, you know, instruments, piano, stuff like that. Like first stage, you know, I might do some multi-band on my piano and then add that on as a last stage, just to like knock things down and smooth it out a little bit.
Amazing.
But that's dope. So 3 cool plugins. To be fair, you are the first guy that's come on. This is episode 21 or maybe 22 that didn't say the Pro Q3.
Dope plugin.
Yeah.
Love it.
Everyone's put that in their thing, and you're the first guy to miss
plugin, by the way. Listen, love that plugin as well. Obviously, I was also thinking of just the first 3 in my head, but
Yeah,
Those are
no, no.
three.
Well, I rate it. I rate it. Do you know
Yes,
what I mean?
yes,
Like, because
yes,
that's a hard plugin to get away from. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes,
it's
yes.
become so essential. Do you know what I mean? But
Has,
you know,
has, yeah.
it shows your diversity in plugin selection.
Oh,
Is
for
it?
sure. Like
Yeah,
for me, one thing throughout the years that I've just also become is just a student to this. As much as obviously we have our ways and we have our set practices of like engineering and mixing, I've also just been one of those where I'm like, yo, let me really go and sit down and educate myself on. Obviously, we may understand the basics of compression, but let me see what this compressor does in regards to
yeah,
that compressor. Let me
yeah,
see
yeah.
what this EQ
Man,
brings in regards to that.
it's an essential part. And if you ever stop learning, then
You're done.
you're finished. Yeah, you're
Yeah, yeah,
finished. Like 100%. You can't just say, oh yeah, I got my plaque, I got my award, I got X amount million streams or whatever. Like
yeah,
I'm a master at this. You'll get left behind, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah.
I spend stupid amounts of hours on fucking YouTube just watching like Tizio released an hour-long mixing video. Let's go get my popcorn. I'm
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
I'm there just
same.
learning,
I'll be
bro.
up there, mix with the
Oh
masters.
yeah, man.
Be on there.
You know, like $30 a month for just
Yeah,
unlimited information. Are you
trust
mad?
me, I'm on there, bro.
Take all my money. Like,
I'm on there with you.
yeah,
It's so
exactly that.
essential, man. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
100, and that's why it's so. I feel like the guys
I'm gonna give it
nowadays.
one more plug-in. Actually,
Go on.
I know you said free, but one more
No, please,
that I really, really love, and I'd be using it differently as well. But the NS1,
bro. Go in plugin. Go
the
in plugin.
NS1,
Go in
and the
plugin.
NS1 for me on drums,
Really?
ridiculous, bro,
It's such a simple plugin, isn't it? Like it's just
ridiculous. And
yeah.
what I've loved with the NS ones, I kind of got this. I kind of got that inspiration from Jason Joshua. I think it was a record he was mixing for. That's her name again? Malamente.
Uh,
What's her name? Spanish girl.
Latin singer sort of
Latin.
thing. Yeah, I don't know.
I
I'm
forgot her
terrible with
name.
shit
But
like that. I can't lie.
when I remember her, I'll bring it up. But
Yeah.
I remember him using the NS1 on one kit, and I was like, yo. Like the way it was able to just control the transient and give it a sort of tightness and a
Really?
bro.
It's a
And I
unique
remember
way
just
of using that plugin, to be fair.
it was
Like,
I used it on latest trends on the drums on the bus,
really?
and that's what gave it a lot of that tightness and just that close, that
Roundness.
real roundness.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know what I mean? After
Interesting.
curving out a lot of just the lower, but it gives it a nice just tightness. The NS1s on drums, I know a lot of people are like, right, NS1 on drums. Trust me, winner,
Yeah, I'm gonna
different.
actually try it. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, man,
I'm gonna
different.
try it.
We
I
need to
rate
go
that.
for it one time, man.
Yeah,
Different.
yeah. I
Winner,
mean,
man.
for like my transients and like roundness and stuff like that on my drums recently, I've been using Knock by Decap.
Knock,
Uh,
decap, dope.
yeah, that's a really
Dope.
cool plugin, and I
Yeah,
do like the punch is basically a transient
yeah,
designer, um, and even the clipper's cool, but since gold clips come into my pocket, that's getting neglected a little bit now.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Gold
uh,
clip is ridiculous.
yeah, but I do find that I can get quite close to that FL sound with the knock clipper.
Oh, nice.
But you know, you got to tweak the settings. But
Yeah,
I can get close to it. Like I have, you know, not it's not the same, but it's like,
not the
oh,
same, but you're getting close to that knock and
getting that
yeah.
vibe. Yeah.
It's got that something when it comes to drums, isn't it?
Some
It has,
sauce in there, bro. Like
it has some.
some wizard needs to recreate it, man, and just
It
have it
has.
as
It's
like
got
a
that. Wait,
standalone
what is
thing.
it? I think it's to do with the bit depth or
Something like that, yeah. And
yeah.
obviously, there's like a rendering thing with FL because
Okay.
obviously it's like Windows native.
Yeah,
Obviously, you can use it on Logic and stuff now, but there's like a whole like rendering thing that just sounded different to like any
yeah.
other door.
Any
Obviously,
other
all
thing?
doors sound slightly different if
Yeah.
you get into that the real technical of it.
Yes, they do. They
But
do.
yeah, it's annoying because it's like I'll get the 2 track and then the stems, and then they're like, "Bro, it's drums." Like what? Like it's not
Yeah, the
hitting the
drums are
same, and
snapping.
I'm
The
like,
drums are snapping. Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
shit. Like
Sure, the drums are
just
snapping.
send me the drums with that fucking clipper on, and let's keep it moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, man.
But yeah, so what? Another question I wanted to ask you: dope plugin selection. Though that's sick. Um, this is kind of polarizing, and it'd be interesting to hear. It's the first time I'm asking it on the show as well. Um, what in the audio industry right now is something that's like annoying, that's irritating you that you don't like? Like, what is there any part of it that's like, oh, this is kind of, to me, it doesn't sit right?
Hmm. It's a very, very, very good and insightful question. In the music and the audio industry as a whole.
Yeah, I would like to say. I mean, yeah, obviously, in if we said music industry, that we'd
Hmm.
be here all day. But
Okay.
like, I feel like, yeah, audio industry is interesting to me
Okay.
personally. If you do have any insight into it,
Um. Well, something that I wouldn't say was a bit of an okay. It started off a bit of an annoyance, but it was something that I just got introduced to. But was the formatting and rendering on Dolby Atmos.
yeah, yeah, I can feel that, bro.
Do you know
That's
what I'm on now? Yeah,
yeah, I
especially on
fucking
certain types of digital audio workstations. So
bro.
on like Logic Pro.
I mean, I
Uh,
feel like Logic Pro. I feel like Logic Pro is probably the easiest.
yes, on Pro Tools as well.
Pro
There was some initial
Pro Tools, the
complications and stuff.
setup is fucking crazy, bro.
It
Like
is. It was a
setting
bit
up the
difficult.
IO and all that, and
It
it's
was
like, mate,
it was an issue. It was a
yeah,
big issue. I remember meeting a dope young man, Eddie Pittman, who came down to one of the studios that I work at
hmm
in King's Cross, TYX. Shout out to TYX, and he just kind of gave us like a debrief and a few sort of techniques and a few new plugins that his company had built. I forgot the name of his company. When I get, I'll definitely shout out to you.
yeah, please
And
do
it was just a game changer, bro. I think they're about to release something soon. I
to
think maybe they're ready.
simplify everything, or
Yeah, to simplify it. But that was like a big or like a major issue, not just for myself, but speaking to other engineers when it came
yeah.
down to rendering and formatting, especially
Well, I mean,
Dolby Atmos. Yeah.
I actually did a Dolby certification. Like it's
Okay.
up there. You guys can't see it, but you can see it in the
Yeah.
background there.
Yeah.
With engineers. So we did a whole course that was, verified by Dolby, and you've delivered a mix, and then you get the Dolby Atmos stamp. Like, yeah, this engineer can do it. Yeah.
So,
So, but that was like 90 to 80% of the course was just the
yeah.
fucking setup and rendering. Like, do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
barely talking about, and obviously once you do it, you realize that, obviously once it's all set up and you know how to render it, like the actual mixing of it is quite simple
Oh, the mixing of it is
and it's
to be
super
honest, a
fun.
joy. It's a
Yeah.
joy. It's so fun. It's amazing. But the rendering and the formatting and everything else, that's the tricky part.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
know.
part that takes a
Yeah.
lot of time and
But
takes a
again,
lot of work.
that's where it
Yeah.
leans into systems, having
System.
systems. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So like
Yes.
I know one guy, he's got he got a setup, right, and he's big on the stream decks, yeah.
Mm.
And he set up a command so he can hit one button and it will load up Pro Tools in the way that he needs it loaded up for to be able to do a Dolby Atmos mix. And
Wow.
then he hits one other button and he renders everything that he needs separately, because obviously there's like 3 different deliverables in it.
There are. Yeah.
And it just does it automatically. Hits that button, just go makes a
Just
coffee.
straight in.
You know what I mean? Just
So,
chilling,
so,
like, and I'm
so,
like, damn, like for 100 quid for the stream deck, yeah, that's
yeah.
probably worth it. Do you know what I
That is.
mean? Like,
That is.
maybe
That
something
is.
to think about, and it's
Yeah.
just obviously figuring out, the programming, because you have to record the steps. So that can take a minute, but once it's done, you'll probably end up saving a load of time. How do you
Yeah.
how do you do the mixes? Like, are you doing like the binaural in the cans, or do you have
Yes.
a room?
So exactly. So we most of the mixes that I do, I do them down at TYX, and they have an amazing Dolby Atmos studio room.
hmm
So obviously myself, I've just started to also get into Dolby Atmos mixing as well, which has been amazing. Obviously, I've done a few tutorials and a few sort of just sessions on it as well, and it's
Yeah.
been great just to obviously see how things are now going into that format, and it's amazing, man.
Do you, do you think it's here to stay?
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
Yeah, it's because again, that is a very polarizing topic at the moment.
Yeah,
It seems to be split down the middle. People think it's a gimmick or whatever, and it's not here to stay. But I
I
feel
think
like
it's
once you've been educated on it, And
One.
especially if you've educated yourself on the history of the change between mono and stereo
Yes.
that happened, I think you would realize that, yeah, man, like everyone would have thought, oh, are people listening with two speakers having two?
Yeah,
That's far too
exactly.
much hassle.
Far too much for that.
Yeah, that doesn't
Yeah.
sound right. Oh, it won't be right. And then even our bloody phones are stereo now. Like,
Yes.
so
Yes.
I think it's a natural progression. And as the technology
Yeah.
gets better,
Yeah.
one thing that I'm scared of, and I've brought it up before, I went to the HQ, the Atmos HQ in Soho, yeah.
Yes.
And they had a car in there with it all kitted out, right? And
Yeah.
it sounded nuts, like crazy, like
Yeah.
and you can see that as like a part of that space that could be so easily implemented into like
Yeah.
society. Do you know what I mean? Because a whip, it's already got 5 speakers more time
5
already.
speakers
So
in there. Yeah.
adding a
Yeah.
couple of others on the roof or whatever for like the nice for that premium upgrade or whatever doesn't seem
Okay,
like too much of a reach. But then I was sitting in the car and I'm thinking, if I was driving and I'm listening to an album and then suddenly like Good Kid, Mad City, and it's like a
yeah.
car comes spinning past my head, yeah, I'm gonna be like, is that
Yeah,
dangerous?
it can put you off. It
Yeah,
can
do you know
put
what
you
I'm
off.
saying? You might crash. Like, you know what I
It can
mean?
put you off. You're right.
I feel
You're
like that.
right.
I feel like we're gonna have some issues.
Right. You say that because I'm not even taking Dolby. I done a stereo mix one time, and I felt like I overpanned
Yeah,
an effect. I think I was doing a stereo mix for an overdub or something,
yeah.
and bro, like I heard a little something going in from left to right in the car. In my car, and I felt a little bit shook. I was like,
You
oh
know,
damn, what's
I
this?
actually did it earlier this week. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm driving back from the gym, and I
yeah.
had like one Nux tune on. I can't remember the name, but it
Yeah.
had sirens in the back,
Sirens and like,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
there. I'm like, where's the whip? I need to pull over. Like, not that I'm in trouble, but like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
need.
yeah,
And I'm like, I can't see the car, and I'm like, it's in the fucking tune, bro.
yeah.
That's jokes, but I feel like obviously it's gonna elevate that so much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah,
might be a
yeah,
problem.
yeah.
You know, but if you
It's
haven't been
interesting.
there, if you haven't been to that HQ, definitely take a trip
I
down there,
need to
man.
go there. I've heard of the HQ studios.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
down
you
that side.
send them a message, they'll probably invite you down and just give you a little
I will.
tour and
I will.
show you the
It'd be
space
great.
because it's
Yeah,
really
it'd be
cool.
great. I want to message them after and see.
Yeah. It's super cool, and
That'd be great.
they do a lot of events as well. Like so, I went because Gorav was doing a like a demonstration of a new Pro Tools feature, and obviously it being implemented into like Dolby Atmos and that. And I
Yeah.
went to that event, and that's where I got to like hang out and meet them all and chill and stuff. But like the
Yeah.
engineers are so nice there. Do you know what I mean? They said, "Oh, if you've ever finishing up a project and you want a place to demo it or even display it to people, just let us know, and we'll give you the space for a few hours and whatever, and you can
Guys,
come and
amazing.
and
Amazing.
obviously there's going to be no better place to demo it than there
Yeah.
because they've got the
Yeah.
system. So
Yeah.
definitely reach out to those guys because they're really cool,
Oh,
especially if you're getting into the space. That's dope, bro. But yeah, I hear that. Yeah, I hear that. That was a good answer, to be fair, and it can I think with time it will get better.
hopefully
It's not something that isn't going to get fixed. Do you know what I
fixed.
mean?
That's
So, and it will
definitely
just become more and more simplistic. Like you can even see
yes.
with Logic how they've integrated the renderer into the door. Do you see what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Exactly.
Obviously, it's a bit more. It's a bit of a dumbed down version of the renderer,
Yeah.
but it still does the job. I
That's
know
exactly.
guys that are mixing, platinum level projects, and they're doing it in that renderer with the Apple headphones, the over
Yeah.
ear ones, and
Yeah.
then just sending it to a space to get it checked like a little once
Yes.
over. But
That's the way.
and to me, I was like, to be fair, that makes sense because the majority of the client basis right now is Apple Music with those headphones. So
With those headphones. Yeah.
if it
Yeah.
sounds, that's what you're mixing it for at
Yeah.
the moment. So
Yeah.
you may as
Yeah.
well just use those headphones. You know what I
Use it
mean?
as a reference and see how
Exactly.
it sounds on there. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a pair coming on Monday. I'm already.
I'm about to order a pair now as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to be fair, I've heard really good things in terms of like they're actually good headphones. Do you know what I mean?
Headphones,
Like for listening to music on anyway. And these as engineers, it's essential to have things like this, and because that's what everyone listens to
Needed.
their music on. So
Needed. Needed.
yeah. Do you use like any like codec emulating.
Earpods a fewer times, but I try to stay away from not for too long because sometimes they can damage the eardrums.
Yes,
Having
yeah.
them for too long.
But I feel like for referencing,
Yeah.
for me personally anyway, it's become like a really important part of my system because I use the Streamliner. Have you heard of it? It's by Plugin Alliance.
So I have Plugin Alliance, yes.
Yeah, so Streamliner, they have I think it's a fairly new thing they added, and they've got like a codecs emulator now where
Okay.
you can select Spotify or Instagram or whatever, and then it will run it through their codecs and volume match it at what it comes out on that platform, so you
That's
can
dope.
hear how your mixes are going to translate when they eventually get on these doors. Because
Okay.
you know we've all had it where we've done a mix and we've been like, yeah, it sounds dope, and then you hear it back on Spotify and you're like, what? Like
What's going
something
on?
happened. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? The dynamics are gone or whatever. So like for me, it's like Apple headphones paired with that. I'm like, okay, cool. This is how 90% of the population are going to hear my mix.
Yeah.
This sounds good, and that to me is like that is one of the more important parts. You know what I mean? Because you know, who cares if it sounds dope in your perfectly treated room out of your fucking £10,000 speakers?
I
You know
used
what
to
I
say
mean?
that all the time to people.
Yeah, because that's not what people are going to
Most
listen to
people
the
are
tunes
playing
on.
them on phones,
Mm.
earpods. So you have to be able to discern and know that whatever I mix and whatever I'm creating is palatable for all.
Yeah, and digestible. Do you know what I mean? And it's
Exactly.
going to come in.
Exactly.
So making adjustments. More time I'm there, I'll mix the record and I'm like, yeah, sick. It sounds dope out of my speakers. And then I'll put these in and I'll put, run the codecs on and stuff. And I'm like, now I'm like, I'm missing high end or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm adjusting with those systems in place to make
Yeah.
sure. And then I might take it all off and I'm like, yeah, it does sound a bit sharp in my room. But I'll do
Yeah.
an adjustment and I listen to a reference and I'm like, yeah, no, it's the same. It's the same. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Same. Yeah.
Just a couple last questions before we wrap up because
No
we're
worries,
getting
brother.
out. But so this will be quite an interesting one for you because again, yeah, it's like I feel like our journeys we came up in a similar time. Do you know what I mean? You're a bit ahead of me with the Grammys and all that, yeah. But
No, brother.
but,
We're all building. We're all grinding,
yeah,
man.
exactly
We're all
that.
grinding.
And but I'd love to know like where you see yourself in 5 years. Like, what's the plan?
Another great question. I love questions like this. I guess for me, I'm obviously a very faith-driven man, so
Mm-hmm.
I also do see myself in 5 years being still growing in faith, allowing God to take me to a place where I can also be of value and of service to people with the gifts that He's given to me. So through
Mm-hmm.
obviously music, production, engineering, I would love to be in a space where I can give more back to my community. You know what I mean? I can give more back to also the younger generation that's coming. As you said, we are getting older, you know what I mean? Like 30 gang, 5 years from now.
Yeah.
35.
We are the olders now.
Exactly, we are the old lot. Yeah, so all of that stuff for me means a lot, you know what I mean? And definitely be in a place where I can impact the next generation that's coming with,
Yeah.
just,
Just got to
the
do more
knowledge.
things like this. Do you know what I mean? And
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly, exactly.
and
So
grow
those are
it.
some of the things that, I always look at when it comes to how do I look at myself and where I want to be within that time. Of course, I definitely would love to be in a better position or in a space where I'm doing just greater things.
Mm,
But I also always look at just, what's the impact I also have with and the impact I'm having on people
yeah.
with the gift that God has given me. So that's one of the things that I definitely
Work
always look at.
work in service.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
love that word
That's
service.
yeah, that's one of my core values. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? So
yeah,
and there's no downside to that.
sure.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but yeah, that's dope. Well, maybe we can have a chat, man, because I got loads of ideas with stuff like that. And if it's something that you're into and you're
Brother,
willing to
let's go.
do, because
Let's go.
I'd love to start putting together like workshops and stuff like that, and then getting people in and filming it and putting them out. Do you know what I mean?
Let's go. I'd
At
love
like a
that. I'd
ground
love
roots
that.
level. So yeah, we'll definitely have a chat about that. That's amazing. I like that a lot. The last question I'm gonna ask you, and it's paired up as it's like a two-piece answer. So
Okay.
like if you had the opportunity to speak to your younger self, and this is goes to everyone else as well, what advice would you give them?
Great question. Um, goes back to my faith, as I mentioned. Trust and put your faith and all in God. I
Yeah.
mean, to where I've got to now, it's by the grace and the blessings of God, man.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, listen, there are so many talented people in this world. I believe we all have been gifted and have been talented and given something from the man above.
Yes.
To
Yeah.
understand, but where some people are able to obviously make more of their talent or make more of their gift, and some people maybe sometimes ain't. I think a lot of that times, yes, of course, everyone's journey is different. But for
Mm-hmm.
me personally, I think it's just been the fact that I've been able to really, count on and just be like, God, I trust you in this moment. When cuts weren't coming, when opportunities weren't coming, God, I trust you in this moment. I know like you're gonna make something happen. Do you
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And it
I'm
does
just
always seem to, you know,
yes, it
like
does. Like
it, and it
it always does.
what I've found is when you steer away from your path that you
Mhm.
know is your path, right? That's when things don't happen, right? And to me, if it's God or what, whoever you believe in, or a higher being, spiritual, whatever it is, to me that's that saying, you ain't doing it right. You've gone off. You're not this.
Yeah.
This isn't the path that's been laid out for you. This isn't what you're meant to be doing. And in the
Mhm.
moment that you find yourself back on that and putting time and energy back into what you love and what you want to do, the universe has a way of just aligning itself for you.
Lining everything together. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is to me, bro. Like, it's something that I love talking about, because it is fucking freaky sometimes. Just how
Yes.
much it actually has an effect. Like, sometimes I think I'm bugging. I'm like, bro, is this right? Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, like like a month ago, I was like stressed as hell, and then
Down,
now
stressed
suddenly
them out, and then
yeah, and I'm
opportunity
like,
comes,
"What?"
something
I
comes.
can't even remember how it felt to feel like that. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as long as you
Yeah.
stay consistent and you keep pushing forward, like, those moments pass. Do you know what I mean? Those moments pass, and
Yeah.
it, you slowly just keep building and building and building. But like, I
Yeah.
do feel like it is so important to stay true to yourself and do what you believe in, and then
Yeah.
the world and the universe will support you in that, and you will be absolutely gobsmacked at like the opportunities that just land in your lap, because you're doing what you're meant to be doing.
You're meant to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Being in your
amazing, man.
purpose.
Well, listen, bro, I really, really appreciate you coming on, man. This has been a really, really cool chat. Like, 100%,
That's it,
long time
brother.
coming.
God bless you, brother, man. It's been amazing to just lock in with you like this.
Yeah, and
I mean,
we'll definitely chat after this as well, and get some more things cooking. Do you know what I mean? Like,
for sure, brother, for sure.
we're in the same city. We're in the same. You know what I mean? There's plenty
Let's
we
make
can
it
do.
happen.
But yeah,
Definitely meet me up soon, man.
yeah, 100%. And yeah, all of JRocs links and profile and everything will be in the description below. His site, you can check out all of his music. And make sure, on that note, you give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Safe.